Good afternoon, Sangha. Those of you in the room, please silence your phones. After this announcement. Those of you online, please mute your microphones. Retreats we have coming up, Finding Freedom and Compassionate Presence with Lisa Ernst from June 23rd, tomorrow, to June 27th. For more information and to register, please visit the retreat page on our website. We also have Practicing Karma with John Orr, July 14th to the 18th, 2021, so next month. Venerable Panawati is offering a book study, classes each Thursday at 5 p.m. The book is Learning from Buddha by Buddha Master H.H. Dorji Chang, Buddha III. If you are interested in joining, please visit the retreat page on our website and select the book study option. The Novena prayers are occurring monthly every third Thursday of the month. Please send your confidential prayer requests for yourself or your loved ones, including pets, who are suffering misfortune or departed, to prayer@heartwoodrefuge.org. Fully vaccinated Sangha members are invited to Heartwood for Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday Dharma at noon. Please like, follow, and share Heartwood and Thrifty Treasures on all social media to help spread the Dharma and further Heartwood's mission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Having watched the news these past couple of days, these past couple of weeks, it is clear to me that we as a species are at war. And how do we know when we're at war? Well, if those of you who are old enough to remember the Vietnam conflict, the way we knew we were at war was we kept seeing dead bodies. And looking at any newscast today, we see dead bodies. And we also see scorched earth from the natural environment, fires and storms and flooding. In other words, disasters that indicate conflict. And how do we work with that? How do we address that? How do we sign up? How do we make sure that we're on the right side, on the right team? Well, again, if the downside of war is death and dying, is disaster, then it seems to me that the upside, the uptick of conflict is the presence of stillness, love and compassion, of an undefiled mind. And this is what I propose we look at today. And if you agree, and you don't have to agree, this is where I'm going with this particular teaching, that when we have looked at all sides of things, the political side versus the political side. The right to bear arms, the Amendment 2 side versus the non-Amendment 2 side. These two conflicting points of view on many different subjects that to me indicate, or that is teaching us the fact that there is no such thing as healthy confrontation. Yeah, I know. You think so? But a fight is a fight. And a fight produces injury, suffering, destruction, misunderstanding, confrontation. And I believe that it is our responsibility, those of us who take on the responsibility of saying, I'm a caretaker, I'm my brother's keeper, and I'm a caretaker of the world. I'm a soldier of nature. That I'm here to promote and work with the healing, which involves the coming together of all sides for the good of the whole. As long as we keep insisting that you adopt my way and drop your way, let your way go, your way is no good, that we're never going to get anywhere. We're just going to be pushing up against each other. You know, and when we push up against each other, we destroy the good that we do have together through misunderstanding. What am I talking about? The one side, if we talk about red and blue, both sides think the other side is crazy. Both sides, when they listen to, converse on the other side's point of view, we can't wrap our minds around the other side's point of view. But this is the same point of view that the other side is having about the other side. So it's clear to me that having a side, insisting on a side, is not working. That it's time for us to stop pitching and pushing aside a belief that my answers, my opinions are better than yours, but that we search for exercises that promote a healing structure that reduces the confrontational attitudes from both sides. And that those of us who are able to, that we work with brainwashing ourselves, of cleaning up our own minds, of giving the victory to the other. And I hear the clicking in the minds that say, well, if we give the victory to the other side wins. Well, no side is winning right now, so it's better to have any one side win than none at all. But I believe that if instead of this confrontational drama that we've been playing out forever, that we stop fighting. Not that we stop doing and we stop trying, but we stop fighting. We make a decision after our own careful examinations of the facts and the conditions of the world, that we ask ourselves, if we continue to do the way we're doing, is there any winner at all? Will there be anything left to win if we keep doing this the same way we've been doing it? So we open up our news pages and our e-pages and our newspapers, and we just read about violence, people dying, people getting sick, people having funguses in India. And we keep insisting that we keep insisting, that we push our point of view on the other. Because after all, the other is crazy. The other just doesn't make any sense at all. So it is up to somebody to say enough is enough. And we can use wisdom from any of the teachings that tell us that we have alternative ways to come together or to stay apart, but at least we won't be trying to destroy each other. We won't be at each other's throats. And if we look at something simple like the Christian dynamic, the Christian instruction, it just says love your enemy. Now what could be hard about that? I mean, now we refuse to do it because we say they don't deserve it. But it says, love thy enemy. Well, in Buddhist scripture it says, well, before you love your enemy, you got to get your own head straight. Loving your enemy is great. It's the thing to do. It's the right thing to do. But before you love your enemy, you've got to get your own mind and head straight, so that you are qualified to love. You can't love if you put love in your pocket or put love in your dresser drawer and you shut it up for a while. That you say, well, I'm gonna take this love thing back out when I see love coming from the other side. I'm not gonna give it to them until they give it to me. And I'm saying someone's got to be the bigger person, have the bigger heart, and start to say, okay, you win, I love you. Yeah, I know, I hear the arguments in your mind. I hear they don't deserve and they don't understand and they'll destroy things and all of that is possible, but we won't know until we create the environment where that will be used and clearly evaluated. And we can't do that as long as we're arguing. So, the Buddha asked the question, posed the question, what are the imperfections that defile the mind? And he said, covetousness and unrighteous greed is an imperfection that defiles the mind. Ill will, anger, resentment, contempt, insolence, envy, avarice, deceit, fraud, obstinacy, rivalry, arrogance, vanity, negligence are imperfections that defile the mind. So you see, we are asked to take the higher road. And we've heard that quoted by certain team members, depending upon which team you're on. What's the higher side? The higher side is to say, let's get your head together, let's get your heart together, and practice what you preach. Don't worry about the other guy. Trust in your own energy. Trust in your own spiritual practice. There is no bodhisattva or person of love and healing in history who has taught, well, there comes a time when we got to stop loving and we got to start killing. Now, there are people who said that, for sure. People who have said, we're going to start this war in the name of God, for sure. We're going to have this war and we're going to call it a holy war, for sure. But no one said, I'm not going to require that the other side love me. I'm going to love the other side. I'm going to stop this conflict by refusing to fight. By bringing love to the table, by getting along with the other side. Yeah, but no, the other side doesn't deserve it. They're not worthy. Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to be the one that gives up on myself and my beliefs. But that's the point. You're not giving up on yourself and your beliefs. You are deciding that you are looking out at the destruction of the world as we know it to be, of the environment that we have to live in, at the environment that our grandkids and their kids and grandkids should be able to inherit and use to raise families just like we did, to achieve goals just as we did, to find the right heart path for them just as we did. We're not leaving any space or room for them. Yes, it's about the other side that's present right now that we've got to swallow hard and start loving more than we condemn and hate them. But it's about looking at our whole environment, our whole design in nature, and see the upheavals that are going on in the oceans, in the forests, in the cities, and realize that somebody's got to do something from the heart. Something's got to eradicate the defilements of the mind so that it makes sense to get along. It makes sense to work together. It makes sense to overlook your crazy so that we can perform a project. We can get something going. We can rebuild and refine not only our environment, but our hearts. We can't, but we should ask ourselves, what is the benefit of me allowing someone else to make me hate? To make me ignore a person in their cry for harmony, alignment. There's a point in the schematic of defense and warfare where if what you're doing is not working, you stop it. You involve yourself in redesigning who you think you are and who you think the other is so that you can perhaps change the trajectory of the energy of both sides. So, working with the imperfections of the mind. And what I'm saying and what the book says that if this is a path you want to walk, if this is a belief system you want to embrace, then you gotta let that stuff go. And this doesn't mean to join the other side and participate in the events as they might do. It's to say, carry your heart and carry your undefiled mind to the other side and merge, marry. If you truly believe in what you're doing, then do it. Grumbling about the other side and them not doing what they're supposed to do, or them doing something crazy, certainly makes for a lot of good press, but it doesn't get a healing process started in the world. It doesn't promote harmony between those and us. And just saying, I will pray for them, is something you've already been doing. And that doesn't work. You've got to join, you've got to bond, you've got to walk in their shoes and allow them to walk in yours. If you don't believe that love and harmony work, then you're in the wrong place. Yes, I did say that. So, let's begin by purging from our own. How many are practicing the process of imbuing within one's own body-mind the facets of the Brahma Viharas? Loving kindness, compassion, altruism. How many are working that on a consistent basis? The ones who are not, why not? Are you tired of working for the cause? Are you believing, again, as we said earlier, that those guys don't deserve my love? We've got to ask ourselves what kind of self-talk we create. What do I do that inhibits the process of healing and family? And we got to be most mindful and most careful of that voice that says, yeah, but they don't deserve my love. They don't appreciate my love. Everyone appreciates teamwork and love. Even the crazy guy. But we've got to get our stuff straight. In order for us to have the other guys listen, we've got to be sharp. We've got to be believable. We can't, well, we do, but it doesn't work when we come out as crazy as the other guy. That we don't give them any alternative to what they are already practicing. We can't go and say, well, I want you to join my team, but I do the same thing you do. So let's try to stick with our own game plan. And as opposed to turning our backs on the others who have a different point of view, sit and listen. Practice with Fox News. Just turn it on, listen. And be mindful of when you get angry, when you go, oh, them crazy guys. How could they do this? How can they believe that? Well, they do, and they believe it. There's a group of adults called Cowboys for Trump. And the founder of Cowboys for Trump believes that Trump was ordained by God. But you gotta believe that they believe that that is true. And we gotta take in order for us to have a positive influence on them, we've got to take out of our own minds the tendency to look at the other and say they're crazy. But that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what makes sense to them. What matters is what makes sense to us. And that when we are able to be inside with ourselves, that we can see that we're operating from a pure heart and a pure mind, an undefiled mind. That we are able to sit and hold our conversation in that space of peace and stillness. That we don't give up and go away and walk out, but that we love our enemies. You see, when we love our enemies, that removes all contraindication. That allows us to operate in that netherworld where you understand that you can have enemies, but you can't have them without your love and your own kindness instilled in your own heart and mind, that you share with them while they get through. While they get over the pain that they must feel to feel the way they do. That the hurt and the heartache that they must have experienced in order to feel that what they are espousing is what is appropriate for the world and for each other. that it's okay to hate. That you're only valuable if you look like me and believe like me and that you have no worth if you're not walking exactly like I'm walking. So, I would like anyone who'd like to speak, and then we'll work with finding out what's on our own minds that we can get rid of, that we consider unnecessary energies that we carry with us. After all, we're talking about clearing the mind so that we can see with the insight, the wisdom that we have at our disposal to see things exactly like they are. Not like they think it is, not like we think it is, but exactly the way it is. Okay. Yes, Josh.
Venerable, I can hardly believe that I'm going to say this, but especially considering the fact that it's been so damaging to not just myself, but a lot of people in my faith tradition. It was often said, don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. And it was this way of manipulating something to appear as love, but it really wasn't. So I think a lot of times people rationalize their behavior and how they feel about, especially the other side, by framing it as they don't know what they're doing, or they're stupid, in a really arrogant kind of way, actually. Kind of the way you wouldn't let a child just play in the street if they wanted to, because you love the child so much that you actually stop them from doing something out of love. And it seems to me that a lot of people don't necessarily think of the other side as not deserving or worthy. They think you can actually manipulate yourself, even in a sort of compassionate way, to say we're doing this because they're not capable of truly understanding the long-term effects of what they're doing. And I was just wondering if you would speak to that, because that seems to be a kind of mental manipulation that doesn't really show real compassion.
Okay, well, the first suggestion is that we got to get our own house in order before we try to straighten up somebody else's, right? And one of the things that we talked about was not tricking ourselves, not fooling ourselves. So when I say I'm getting hate out of my heart and mind, that's what I mean. I don't mean, well, I've got this little pocket of darkness over here that if the right guy or girl comes along, I'll put them in it real quick. I'll use this for the extreme cases. There are just some that love won't work on, and I've got to use hate for them, or I'll just ignore them. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about being genuine. And we're talking about loving and sitting and talking and listening to those who have a different opinion. That it's time to stop the war. You see, every time we tune on to the news and we talk about a mass shooting, that's hate. Now they're saying, well, maybe if I shoot enough of them, the world will become more aligned with my way of thinking, my Second Amendment right. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about love your enemy, but buy a gun just in case. We're talking about love your enemy. And there is no Second Amendment right. So we're talking about getting our heads, getting our minds together so that we can have a dialogue with those around us. Not an argument, I'm going to convince you to change your way. And then I'm going to listen to you and let you speak your piece. I'm going to see if I can go inside myself and find the wisdom to ask the questions and have the conversations that will allow you to get to the places that have made you hate the way you do. Not that hate is good, but in order to overcome hatred, I have to understand why I hate. I can't fix it within myself if I don't even understand why I hate you. Do you agree? Yes.
When I think of the metta practice that I've had exposure to and that I practice, I probably should be doing it more to be to tell on myself, but the aspects
don't be a hater now.
So the aspects of the metta practice that I do begin with: may you be safe, may you be protected, may you be at ease with anything that comes your way. May you be happy, and may you be free. Mm-hmm. When I think of those aspects, I think that everybody and their different perspectives and their hatred and all of those things is what everyone's seeking.
Okay.
And if we were in that place, then there wouldn't be as much hatred and war. Mm-hmm. So how do I develop that in a way that whomever I touch, wherever I go, if I can convey that to others and have those conversations that might be hateful conversations or conversations of ill will, and somehow bring that back to, if we all felt safe and protected and at ease with what came our way, and then that might dissolve.
I think it would. And I think it's up to each and every one of us to look at the big picture from our own small place of being and see what truth that I have to offer, not what argument, but what truth do I have to offer? What heartfulness do I have to offer that will present a side to the other side where they don't feel that I'm trying to take away their stuff and give them my stuff. But where we can agree at the end of the day that there's a commingling of me and you. There's a commonality of me and you. And we're not as different as we thought we were when we first came together. That's the beginning of the journey. We got to decide what path we're on. We got to decide what road we're going to take before we even begin our journey. So, keep doing the good work.
And the compassion of my ignorance. and others. No, but I mean ignorance from the standpoint of spiritual development. Looking, realizing that I have a small amount of access to reality. And so there's this layer of ignorance that I have an opportunity to open up to understanding more and more of what my reality is, and the compassion that goes along with that for myself and for others.
You haven't peeled the onion back. In other words, the ingredient that makes it all work and holds it all together, that's the glue, is love. And I've got to feel confident enough about that in order to sit in front of you guys and talk it. You know, I could be like, well, and I don't really believe what I'm saying, but I'm gonna say this anyway because I'm gonna fill this hour up with something that looks good, but inside I'm worried about what you're thinking about what I'm saying. I don't care. I don't care what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just talking about having a dialogue, sitting down and talking to each other without feeling the need to change your mind, but to change mine. You know, wherever there's a weakness, wherever there's a crack, wherever there's a blemish, that I make sure that I bring love to those dark places, because if I'm feeling needy, I'm not going to convince you that you shouldn't be a bully. It's only when I feel fulfilled and full of love that I am trusting enough that love won't let me down, love won't fail me, and will be able to give me the space and the words to talk to whoever without feeling I've got to change their minds even, but just to say, let's just talk. Why do we have to fight every time we get together? Why do we have to yell and scream every time? Why do we have to insist on one side being the only side? So when we say we don't feel confident, that just means we haven't practiced enough. Not that I don't understand the other guy's stuff as much as I could, but that I don't even understand my own stuff. And if I don't understand my own stuff, how do I understand you? I know me better than I know you, but if I don't even trust my own stuff, what do I start out with? Yes? Okay. So you agreed yourself that you should practice more, right? Give me some love. There you go, I see it. Come on. Come on. Okay. All right. It's about making everybody feel what? Wanted, accepted, included. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
You keep coming back too.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's cool. All right, anyone else? All right. Let's take a few minutes to just go inside and find that we want to find our own contamination. To find our own contamination. Where's our weak spot? That's what you're asking yourself. Lots of people do loving kindness, but they don't need to do that because they're loving people. But they need to work on some other stuff. But they don't work on it, they work on the easy stuff, or the stuff that they know the best. And I think that's not because they're being deceitful with themselves, but I think it's because they've had more success with one thing as opposed to some other things. So they want to get that juice. They want to get that success thing going first. And the success thing feels so good that they stay with it until they're ready to get up, because it just feels better, because it feels right. And I'm saying, for us to get balanced and truly skillful and insightful, we must get good with what we're not good about. So we have to find the dark places within us. What makes me hate you? What makes me employ that emotion? What makes me think you are unworthy? What's in it in me that makes me think you're unworthy, undeserving? What virus do I carry that contaminates the process? That's what you ask yourself. And then get rid of that. And you'll find that when you get rid of that, you'll get closer to the other guy. We're going to take a few minutes just to sit and look inside, see what we need to get rid of, not what we need to keep, not what's our strong suit, but what we got to get rid of inside, what we want to let go of, what we want to leave here on the floor by our chair as we leave and go out the door to get back into the world. To really find out what our stuff is all about. To really know, when we think about being warriors and so the things like boxing and martial arts and things like that we have to truly develop some dynamic, we practice and we find out where our weak points are, where our structure is not as fluid and protective as we think it should be. And we work on it. We work on those dynamics. And so we want to take and look at what we perceive to be defilement. Do you want me to read the list again so that you know what to check? Yeah? Okay. By the way, the suit is called the simile of the cloth. And I know it's in it because I just read it. Okay. Now here's what we want to check on and see if we're harboring this particular virus or infection. It first of all qualifies examining this list and finding out if we own some of the qualities of this list by telling us that when the mind is undefiled, a happy destination may be expected. And what are the imperfections that defile the mind? Covetousness, unrighteousness, greed, ill will, anger, resentment. Now let's go back to this anger thing for a moment, because first of all, there's a lot of people that feel they're angry because somebody else made them angry. So they feel that that's one thing they don't have to change, because if the other guy wasn't such a lunkhead, I wouldn't be angry. Anger, resentment, contempt, insolence, envy, avarice, deceit, fraud, obstinacy, rivalry, conceit, arrogance, vanity, negligence, imperfections that defile the mind. That's Sutta 7, the simile of the cloth. So let's take a few minutes just to go inside and see whether we can find any of those qualities. Notice I didn't say good qualities, just qualities. Whether this is something that we carry, whether this is a virus that we have, whether this is something we must heal from. Sometimes we're so wounded that we don't even know where to start. We think that the stuff I feel, the stuff I'm contaminated with is not mine, it's your stuff. And I caught it from you. Okay. And as a reminder, remember that everyone doesn't want to be changed. So that love that you have, that love that you've developed within your own mind, heart, will allow you to sit with them also and not be judgmental. But to let them know that you're there, and if there's anything that they'll ever need, any help that they ever need, you're there with them. May we be free from suffering, may be well, happy, peaceful. May no problems be too insurmountable to solve. Thank you all so very much. Love you all very much, and we'll see you soon. Peace. Sutta 7, Ceremony of the Cloth.
Is that homework?
Yes.